Welcome to Strongbrook Radio, leveling up with today's thought leaders. What you're about to hear are powerful insights, entertaining stories, and life-changing principles from some of the most innovative minds in the world today. This is Strongbrook Radio. All right, everybody, this is Stephen Michael Miller, one of the founders of Strongbrook, as well as your host for Strongbrook Radio. Thanks for tuning in and being here with us this day. So glad to have you, whether you're tuning in from the United States or somewhere abroad, anywhere around the nation or around the world. We're so glad to have you here with us today. And always, as you know, we are here to talk with the world's leading experts, innovative thought leaders, people that have paved the way, that have been there, that have done that have created systems around creating a better life for themselves as well as for many, many others, thousands of others as we get this message out even more and more. So again, thanks for being here. I'm really excited because I've got just an amazing person here on the show with us today, and this is not unlike all of our other shows where we have also very other amazing people on all of our shows. I feel blessed. I feel privileged because I really get to learn from just amazing individuals who have taken the time to become experts in their field. And I've learned that most people, they got to this place of becoming an expert because they had a problem in their life. They had something that they needed to solve. And rather than throwing in the rag or giving up, they decided to find a solution. And so really excited about that. But before I bring her on, I do want to give her a proper introduction. Johnna Tuttle is just an amazing woman. She is the president of Andrea's Wellness Center, formerly known as Andrea's Home Heaven on Earth. She created her own business in 2007 with a name that would reflect the truth of what she discovered. Now, everyone has the power to create heaven on earth when they come to find peace within themselves. As a single mother raising 4 children on her own, she learned to create her own heaven on earth. I'm really excited to hear about what that means for her as well as for us. Now, after dedicating 5 years of her own to her own healing journey, it awakened a desire to share what she had learned. And she was free from negative thought patterns. She learned to create new positive thoughts on what brought abundance, an abundance of love, peace, joy, and riches of every kind. And truly with the thought and idea that healing begins in the home. So, she has been on a journey to create this same type of peace, joy, riches for other people, help other families to experience that in their lives and their relationships. And she's dedicated her time and talents and gifts to assist others to heal and awaken to the truth of who they really are and to find inner peace, healing, and self-love. She has a lot of passions. Of course, Andrea's Wellness Center is one of those passions, which offers products, services, and alternative medicine to bring balance to the mind, body, and spirit. She's involved in a number of other things as well, including she is an inspirational author of Celestial Marriage Reflections on Love and Faith. She also is a radio host. She hosts her own radio program called Celestial Living Radio, and you can find that on www.blogtalkradio.com. She's been on the radio since 2007. Her first show was called Wake Up to the Real You. Without any further ado, I am so glad to welcome on our guest for today, Johnna Tuttle. Johnna, are you there?
I am. Thank you for that lovely, warm welcome. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. And before we really get into it, first of all, thank you so much for taking your time to be on our show. Obviously you've got a lot of experience and time on your show, and you do a lot of great things for a lot of people, not only on your show, but in the company that you work with and the books that you've authored and your different programs that you have. But I'd like our listeners to learn about you a little bit and find out who you are at your core. And maybe before we get to some of the more serious matters, can you share maybe one of your most embarrassing moments that you've ever had?
Oh gosh, most embarrassing. How about I can't think of anything embarrassing, but I've had those moments where like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Or that just felt like such a stupid choice at that time.
Sure.
And, because I really felt like I was following inspiration but there was just a moment where I'm like, why am I doing this? And what I realized, it was just unconscious beliefs that I had that were leading me in a direction that, caused a lot of pain and suffering and humiliation. And so I don't have really any embarrassment, but yeah, there was a time in my life where I was just like, why am I doing this? It's a stupid choice. But then when I really looked within and uncovered what some of those beliefs that led me down that direction, I could have a better understanding.
Yeah, and I probably asked the wrong question, because the truth is for most people that have sought out how to better themselves, how to get out of that negative thinking, embarrassment. As I asked the question, as you started to answer, I realized, that's for a lot of our mentors, embarrassing isn't really something that you feel anymore, because embarrassment, usually along with that, there's shame, there's guilt, there's all those other negative feelings that we're all trying to get rid of anyway. So I appreciate you actually answering it that way. And I think you're right. I think, we don't need to feel embarrassment. There's things that maybe in the moment we feel like, man, maybe I could have done this a little bit differently, like you said, but maybe embarrassing was the wrong term. So I appreciate that. First of all, I'd like to talk a little bit about your book, Celestial Marriage Reflections on Love and Faith. What inspired you to write your book?
Well, 14 years ago, I got divorced, and that was a catalyst for my healing. I really was seeking answers from God because I felt like I had done everything right,
Yeah.
And I could not understand how this could have happened. I was married to an alcoholic and a drug addict, and he was living a completely different lifestyle. And I was, of course, a non-drinker, a non-smoker. I didn't use prescription drugs or any kind of drug. And so we had very different values and lifestyles. And I really wanted answers. Divorce is a very devastating experience.
Yeah.
For everybody involved. But it also can be a very healing and awakening experience if you choose to look at those things that created, that situation. I didn't play victim. I really wanted to see, well, what part did I play? What did I believe about myself that I would attract this kind of person and, this situation? And what did I have to learn from it? So I went within. I wasn't pointing fingers. I was asking God for inspiration. And that's what my book was about. I just started writing those thoughts and that inspiration and that revelation of what the core spiritual principles of what could make a marriage last for eternity. And so each chapter is one of those revelations.
I really appreciate that. Talk to me about that process a little bit. I mean, obviously, when you're in the thick of a painful scenario like that, I personally have never experienced that. I've had a lot of close friends who have, and so I don't have that direct experience. But in talking to some of my friends, who experienced divorce, really, I think what you just said there that really kind of turned the switch for me was, you've got to learn how and where and what you can take accountability for. Did I hear that right? Is that kind of what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you do have to, no matter what the situation is, how devastating or whatever the challenge is, you do have to look at yourself and what part you created in that, or even some beliefs. Like I didn't have a lot of self-worth at that time. I didn't stand up for myself. I was very codependent. And, that's the kind of marriage I created, was a very dysfunctional one for both of us to exist in. I was very enabling of his addictions. And so, yeah, definitely, if you want to make any kind of change or transformation in your life, you have to look at your own part, your own beliefs, your own behavior, and, believe there's something stronger inside of you to create something different.
Well, I appreciate that. And as you stepped into a different space, obviously you've been able to amass a different type of mindset. You've been able to change the way that you view your experiences. It sounds like. I think what I'm really interested in is how have you been able to truly create an abundant life for yourself coming from that type of a scenario?
Well, it took lots of mentors and coaches and healers to assist me in uncovering those things that I need to look at and empowering me to make the changes I needed to change. Definitely a strong connection with God. However, people want to their understanding of God. I think that's essential to make any kind of change in creating abundance in your life. The first part was really just healing relationships and learning to relate to someone of the opposite sex in a healthy way, and letting that change the relationships of how I related to my children. So getting healthy first emotionally affected my relationships, because then I began to love myself and I could love others more fully, unconditionally. And the more love I started to let in from God. And then that's when the physical things in my life started to change, where I could, make more money and receive more just enjoyment of everything in life, just the everyday moments, feeling gratitude for even just the little things that I do of, making a beautiful meal for my family or taking a walk in nature. I don't believe abundance is just about money. I think it's living in a space of gratitude for everything in your life and seeing the miracle of everything in your life and feeling gratitude for yourself, for the people in your life, for the experiences, for the opportunities, and, acknowledging your creator in all of it.
Yeah, thank you very much. So one of the first things that you said that really piqued my ears was you said you started with going forward in healing your relationships. And, relationships, no matter who we are or where we are in our lives, what experiences we're having, or, we are dealing with relationships, whether it's with our spouse, whether it's with our children, our parents, our coworkers, right? It could be anybody that we come in contact with on a daily basis. Those are all relationships in whatever form. And what I've learned in all of my relationships, and it goes to what you just said there, is in every relationship, because I'm different than that other side of that relationship. Again, whatever that it could even be your relationship with money. It can be your relationship with food. It can be your relationship with a person. Whatever that relationship is, because you are different than the other side of the equation, there's oftentimes those conflict moments, where you have a differing opinion or, a different perspective, and conflict will arise. And that's part of the relationship. So really, what advice can you give people? What advice do you have to help people resolve any conflict in a relationship?
Yes, I have a whole chapter on that in my book. I think it's very important to realize that most conflict is because someone wants the other person to give up their power. And a healthy way to resolve conflict is recognizing that, the other person doesn't have to give up their power to agree with you or to submit to whatever you are feeling or thinking in the moment, but realizing that you're both equal in power, and really honoring the other person's beliefs and thoughts and truth, because our feelings and our thoughts, that's our truth in that moment. And really allowing another person to express that freely without taking it personal, without making it about you, is very empowering for both people. I think conflict is just, wanting the other person to to agree or believe what you believe and wanting them to give up to their power to you. And that's, to me, not very healthy at all. I think a healthier way to approach it is realizing you're both equal in your power and that your feelings and thoughts are your truth. And each person should have freedom to express that.
That's great. I appreciate that. So in your journey of healing, did you find that you had to change your conversation with yourself? What did that look like for you?
Oh, yes, definitely. Years ago, I was really stuck in negative thoughts, for weeks and months. And I was really not even aware of these thoughts. Sometimes most people think their trials are something outside of themselves, but a lot of it is just the own inner conflict that we have,
Right.
the negative thoughts that we have within ourselves. And they had so much power over my life to a point where, I had anxiety, I had depression, I was in an unhealthy marriage. But when I had worked with a healer for about 5 years, and he really helped me find my own light, my own power, my own truth. And once you find that truth of who you really are at a spiritual level, like those negative thoughts don't have power over you. And the stronger you allow that truth within you to grow and expand, negative thoughts don't have any. I mean, if a negative thought tries to come in, it can't stick around very long anymore, because my spirit has grown to a point where nothing can have power, because I don't like that feeling anymore, where it used to feel comfortable, but now I'm comfortable in joy and peace and feeling loved and giving love and feeling gratitude and abundant in everything in my life, that when those negative thoughts come in, it's like I don't even want to entertain them because I don't like the way they make me feel. I love how I'm feeling now. But it is a process to get to that point.
Yeah. So how did you do that? I mean, where did you go? What did you do? I mean, you talked about your mentors you have. Obviously, I'm sure. I mean, it sounds like that they did a lot to help you in that arena. We all find ourselves in moments where we talk down to ourselves. We beat ourselves up. We verbally abuse ourselves. Sometimes we don't even need somebody else in the picture. We'll do that on our own. How do you really turn that corner? I mean, first of all, I mean, because it all comes back to our beliefs, right? At a certain point in time, you said that you didn't believe that you were worthy of certain things. You didn't believe that, that you could have a certain lifestyle or a certain, relationship. How do you turn that corner? How do you help people to turn that corner?
Well, there was something inside of me that was stronger than all of that. There was something inside of me that told me I could have a better life. And it's making a choice every day when you're battling those thoughts of choosing that. It's every day I wake up. There were times where I was just really devastated. If I had experienced some sort of loss, I was grieving. And every day when I would wake up, I would make a conscious choice to be happy. I would not get out of my bed until I could process that emotion, be free of it, and move forward. So I think it's a daily choice. I also use affirmations. I even created an affirmation CD because they were so powerful in my life.
Will you talk to me about, sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Will you just tell me and our listeners here, how have those affirmations changed your life? And maybe even give us some ideas on the type of affirmations that you were able to use to pull you out.
Well, I went to God and I asked what was true about who I am. What is true about the life you want to help me create? And that's when I, wrote down these affirmations. And I would say them. I, would record them. I would put them on the mirror. I would look into my own eyes and say them. I think they're more powerful if you use them in many ways than just you know, hearing them or saying them or writing them down. I think you need to use them in many ways. Um, I think they're very powerful, and my CD is actually available in the network. I think they have that available for free
Oh,
for
that's
anyone.
fantastic. Would you mind just giving the listeners a couple examples of some of the affirmations that you used, or maybe even continue to use?
That I'm loved, I'm safe, I'm secure, I'm abundant, I receive abundance in all areas of my life, I am joy, I am love, I am peace. Very, very simple. Just, I think a lot of people don't feel loved and safe in this world because of things that they might have experienced. And I think those are one of the most powerful things that you can say to yourself. It's one of the most powerful things that I share with my children. When I'm holding them, I tell them that I love them, that they're safe, that they're okay. You know, letting a child feel safe is so important in this world. And I think as parents, we don't do enough, or I haven't seen enough of that. And it is definitely something that you want to share with your children and be a source of peace and love and safety, so they can not only hear it from your mouth, but from your being, the essence of who you are.
Yeah. Now, have these affirmations helped you do you feel like these are, some of the reasons why you've been able to manifest the life that you have right now?
Yes, I think it's a very, very powerful tool of manifestation.
Okay. And along those lines, do men and women, do you feel like men and women manifest differently, or can they use the same type of affirmations, or is there any differentiators there?
I think there is, because we have unique spiritual gifts as men and as women. They're different, though we are equal.
Yeah.
Men they're in their power when they're really taking action, being proactive, and just very strong, focused direction. Where women, when they give, I think when men give more, they manifest more. For women, because we overgive, when we actually will receive more and just be, we can manifest very easily. Being a single mom, I'm a provider, I'm a protector, I'm a nurturer, I'm a teacher, I am a mentor, I'm a coach, I'm a taxi cab, I'm everything. And when we have masculine and feminine within both of us. Like when a man is being very compassionate and loving, that's, feminine power, that's divinely gifted. And as women, when I get in my protector mode and providing mode, that's my masculine, and I can get out of balance. And this is just what I've noticed as a single mother, having to do both. To find balance, I actually create more when I'm nurturing my child, or if I'm just being. That's why I spend a lot of time in nature, because I'm just being, and I'm not trying to do too much. Women overdo. So I would suggest for women to stop overdoing and start being the goddess that you are, being the beautiful, divine daughter of God that you are. And for men, taking action, giving more, helps them to manifest more. So yes, there's some differences there, but we both have masculine and feminine within us.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So tell me, what are some, for women specifically, what are some self-care tips that you can share for women?
I suggest women find those things that really nurture their soul. If they like to do artwork, or if they like to write or write poems, anything creative. I love to decorate my home. I'm always doing something within my home to create beauty. I love when people can come in my home and feel a spirit of beauty and peace and grace, and um, just doing those little things that really nurture us and feel good. I love sometimes to just pamper myself and go get a massage or a pedicure, and it's different for every woman, but finding those things that really nurture us um, is what I would suggest.
All right. So tell me about, because again, you talk a lot about self-love. You talk about a lot about, treating yourself appropriately and doing the right things that are inside of your sphere. How does having that self-love really empower you to consciously create the life that you want?
Well, when we love ourselves, we can receive more. When you are, having these negative beliefs about yourself or your body or your life, or you're not going to love anybody else. I know a lot of women that are very critical of themselves are very critical of their husbands. And it's not a very thriving environment for success in anything. So loving ourselves helps us to feel worthy to accept it and to receive it. It helps our relationships when we can look at especially our bodies. Women are so hard on their bodies and wanting to point out this or that. And when you can just celebrate who you are right now in this moment, negative thoughts don't have power over you. You can really just look in the mirror and love yourself completely as you are in the moment. That can help you to move forward, to receive more.
Yeah. So, I love what you're talking about. And I love how, there's specific tips that people can take today to apply to their lives to start seeing a more positive life, to start feeling that positivity, to really start to create the life that they want. I'd love to just turn the page a little bit here. And I'm not going to go off topic necessarily because, I know that you talk a lot about self-love, of course, nutrition, meditation, emotional healing, but you also talk about abundant living. And I think when most people hear the term abundance or abundant living, oftentimes they think of money, monetary, right? They think of finances and business, maybe. At least I do. Maybe that's just because I'm a man and I'm in the entrepreneurial, world. But I'd love to know, and I think this is something that our listeners would also love to know, is how can someone approach making money from that more spiritual point of view?
Well, I didn't increase my income until I started to receive more love from God. Until I let that in more abundantly, that's when my relationship with money changed. When I wake up in the morning, I feel an enormous amount of love and connection from God. And it brings so much peace into my life that it just spills over into everything. My finances, my relationships, just everything, just, being out in nature, feeling connected, having meaningful conversations with other people, feeling happy, because I know there's a lot of friends I have that are in 7 figures and they've been divorced several times. They don't know how to have a healthy relationship. To me, abundance is having a healthy relationship with yourself, with God, with money, with family, with friends, with clients, customers, whatever it is. It just spills over, but that does start with, receiving love from God first and having a healthy relationship and building that relationship stronger with God allows money to be spiritual. It's, I had to overcome a lot of beliefs around money that I was programmed through, religion and, just growing up, from my parents, didn't have a healthy perspective of, money or relationship with money. I can serve more. I feel free. I don't feel in bondage. And it doesn't mean that when the times that I was really struggling financially, that I didn't serve other people. It was harder. It's easier when you have a good income and you feel free. You have more time, and it's just a lot easier. So this point of view of money being spiritual is really having a deeper connection with God and learning to co-create with Him. Because there were times in my life where I received revelation of how much money God wanted to bless me with. And I was in the way of receiving that. And there was many times where He had to say, get out of the way. I'm trying to bless you with this. And so I struggled for there was maybe 2 years I really struggled, and I received this inspiration of what He wanted to bless me with. And then when I finally met the right people to help me clear those blocks, it just flowed in. And I was like, oh, this is what you've been trying to tell me.
Yeah.
This is what you've been wanting to give me. And I'm sorry that it took me so long. I'm sorry that I caused so much pain and suffering on myself and my family because I didn't know how to receive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Johnna, it's been so great to have you on the show today. I really appreciate you taking your time and spending this with us, and you've given us some really valuable tips that we can again begin to implement right now to have a better life, to improve our self-love, to have that spiritual nutrients that we need to go out and create a more abundant life for ourselves and heal ourselves. So I really, really appreciate that. And you're also obviously part of the mentoring network. You are one of our preferred mentors, and I'd love to also just talk about real quick what you have. You mentioned having your book inside of the vault, or in some CDs, I think you might have said. What do you currently have inside the vault? And then what also is going to be available inside of the Strongbrook store for people that want to work with you more closely?
Yes, I've got my Abundance Affirmation CD that they can download. And then there is a meditation CD if someone's looking to help clear some negative emotions and find inner peace. That is a really good one. I also have the Abundant Living Coaching Program. So if there are people who feel blocked in receiving abundance of love, of peace, of money, whatever that is that they feel blocked, this would be a great program for them. And then I also have Discovering Your Soul's Purpose. And this is for people that know they have a purpose and they're not really clear on how to share it or how to get their message out to the world. It does give you some clarity and some direction to go and share your gifts with the world.
Well, I really appreciate that. We're excited about what you've got inside the vault as well as the different products in the Strongbrook store. Johnna, thank you so much for being with us today. Are there any parting thoughts or any final things that you'd like to say to our audience?
I just want to say that I believe in them. If they're listening to this, I believe in you. And I hope that you will start to believe in yourself of what you're capable of creating. If I can do it, anybody can.
Thank you so much, everybody. This is Stephen Michael Miller again with Strongbrook Radio. We've had Johnna Tuttle on with us today. Again, thank you so much, Johnna, for being with us. It's been an amazing time here. And this is something, like I said before, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being with us every single week. This is amazing information that you can take and apply to your life right away. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't procrastinate. If you want to change your life, change begins with you, and it begins today. And it begins by taking some of those tips and treasures, those little nuggets and jewels that we get from our mentors. This is the whole power of the Mentoring Network, is we get to learn from people that have been there, done that before. And so with that, again, Johnna Tuttle, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. Everyone else, all of our listeners from around the world, thank you for tuning in. And as always, just go home and start applying right away, start implementing these tips in your life, and you'll start to see a happier, more abundant life. Thank you so much. This is Stephen Michael Miller. We'll talk to you next week.